by having you introduce yourself.
I'm Michael Jacobson. I'm the senior pastor at Martin's Lutheran Church in Castleton, North Dakota.
Awesome. And how long have you been in that position?
I've been here for 3.5 years. April of 2016 is when I came to Castleton.
Do you have previous roles as pastor at other churches?
I was the solo pastor at Trinity Lutheran Church in Cooperstown before I came here. So yeah.
What called you to work in the church?
Oh, what? Well, I ran away from the church as long as I possibly could. My dad was a pastor, so it's the last thing in the world that I ever wanted to do was to be a pastor. And God has this funny sense of humor and always wins. After we had left, I left the church for the longest period of time, living in Virginia. I ran into a guy named Sam, and we hadn't seen him in 2 years, but he remembered my name. And he said, "Hey, Mike and Jen, how are you?" And that called us back to the church. I got active in our church in California and ultimately answered the call, if you will, into ministry. Switched my degree program and left the idea and concept of working for the Navy for 17 years to enter into the ministry. So that's a long story short, but for me it was all on God making a new covenant with Mike and off of Jeremiah 31:31, of which was my first sermon that I ever gave before I even thought about going into the ministry full time. It was God making a new covenant with the people of Israel, and during the time I was working on that message, God was working and shaping through the work of the Spirit to call me into ministry and service for the church full time in ordained ministry, and I haven't looked back since. It's to be a pastor is the best thing that I've ever been asked or called to do. I love people and being with them each and every step of the way.
What are some of your major day-to-day tasks?
Well, so that's kind of interesting on a major day-to-day task because it really varies. Being a pastor, there isn't, one would say, a day-to-day task, just because we never know what happens, right? I mean, currently we have a little over 1,000 members, and so the day-to-day tasks can shift based on what happens or what's taking place within the lives of any one of the members of our congregation, or in that matter, somebody within the community. So a day-to-day task is really up in the air. I mean, the first thing that I try to do every day is to come in and set myself for the day that's ahead, and not knowing what that's going to be, to read my Bible study that I get in my email every day to kind of center and focus for the day, remember why I'm here and what I'm called to do. But I mean, there's administrative functions that have to take place. Working with our office staff. There's sermon prep work that always has to take place. There's Bible studies to prepare for. There's education programs for our kids in the confirmation world. There's volunteers that need assistance to get people on task to do ministry of the church. I mean, the church isn't inside the walls. Although that's the thing that we believe, hey, I'm at church, so that's where it's at. But really, the church is the people, and we go out and serve. And so for me, day-to-day tasks is sometimes they trap me behind the desk. But where I love to be is out in our community and in people's lives and with them each and every step of the day.
How long have you guys been using Icon?
So the church has been using Icon. Martin's far longer than I've been here. The Icon system has been, I would say, in place maybe as long as Icon has been around in that realm. In reality, I mean, my congregation that I was serving in Cooperstown that you asked me about, they were using the Revelation system to attract people and have it updated And so I get here and they talk about icon, and until I went to your meeting, I didn't know that the two, one replaced the other or superseded or however you want to say it, took the other one on. And so, yeah, I mean, the system has been here and operational for a great number of years, well past the 3.5 years that I've been here. So.
What do you like about it so far?
As the Navy trained me how to be an analyst, and so I'm intrigued by data and making sure that information is correct, and I think that matches with who we're supposed to be as a church, as well. I mean, if we look at biblical history, we look throughout the Bible, it's always of who are the people that are present. I mean, even you look at the book of Numbers, right, of God saying, hey, I want you to count all the people and who's within what tribe and where they're at. And so we are also called to do that same thing. Who are the people that we're serving? And so to have this feature of a database that can track and keep track of your members and all of the important dates and information about who they are and what they're experiencing, what they're going through in life, is a super tool, if you will, for a pastor. One of the things that we've learned about going through some of the sessions and having the conversations, was to look at the simple fact that, hey, I can have this as an app on my phone. So if I need to go see Jane, I can go look on my app to get her address without having to call the church office and go, hey, by the way, can you give me the address or the phone number for Jane, because now it's all at the function of the hands. Right, to be there, and just like any other system, I mean, it's all prudent, or the focus needs to be on good data being input to the system in order to get the data that you need out of the system, and so that's one of the things that I really appreciate about the Icon system, and so I mean. There's a lot of things that I've talked with the staff over there at Icon, right? I mean, they've come out and shared some stories about things that we're looking for, things that we're trying to do and accomplish. But overall, I mean, I really appreciate just having the system at our fingertips to use.
How has it made a difference in the church so far?
Well, so far, I mean, one would say in some cases. How has it made a difference? I would say just some of the things that I've already said. The ability or impact to find out information about a person, a member of the congregation, with the tap of a button. Some other things that have been really huge here is part of its module on the recording of pledges. Right, to see where we are in our capital campaign. We're in the middle of a building project here at Morton's, and we're building a brand new $2.5 million facility. And so to be able to set a pledge criteria and piece into the giving module, and say, hey, our pledge date started here and it's going through here. To then in campus and run one report to get numbers instead of trying to pull data from here, there, and everywhere else. It's all one click of a button, and it gets you the information that you need from that standpoint, from the giving module. And that, for me personally, at this point in time, is a godsend to do that. It's not tracking by Excel spreadsheets or anything else. You punch in the numbers. Hey, here's what the people are giving. Here's what they've given so far, and so even when we send out giving statements now, people will be able to know exactly where they are on the drive, and we don't have to answer a million questions about, hey, how much did I give again? I can, it's one report. Here you go. Let's make it happen, right? So I mean, that's a win for us.
What's your experience with Icon support?
Oh, Icon support. Well, I mean, to date, I will say that it has been truly amazing. There hasn't been a time where we haven't got the support that we needed, and it's an answer of a phone call immediately, and if they don't have the answer right then, they have said, hey, let me call you right back, and they do. It's not like a week later or anything else. It's just like, within that same day or the next day, we get a phone call back to do that. I can say I've been impressed with probably the best customer service in a product that I've seen, probably one would say really in my lifetime, with their genuine care and desire to help congregations to be the best that they can be on the business side of things. And this goes also back to, there's parts of Icon that I never knew about what the system had to offer, what it could do for us as a congregation, right? And so my office manager, she said, hey, they're having this Icon meeting at the Synod office. Can we go? Right? And so then I go to that meeting, and it's just like my eyes were completely opened to this operating system. In some cases that as a pastor I was kind of like dreaming of, that could happen, right? And so you don't know what you have until somebody tells you or shows you sometimes what you have, right? And that's what's really weird, and that's where I got to meet Connie and the rest of the staff there, and which was really super eye opening. One of the other things that we're looking forward to at Martin's is implementing the financial whole package, if you will, into our operation, because now we use Quicken, and then we have to go and force feed all of these reports, if you will, export them to Excel or hand type them into Excel if we can't get them to export, to make all of these things happen for the business side of the church, and to know that there's a tool inside Icon to help make that happen. It will set everything at ease for myself, for my office manager. I think also for the council, because they'll have access to the financial reports online. It's no longer, hey, I have to email you this or email you that or run this to try to get the data and information that you want. It's all at one spot. And, if everything's in one area, how can you go wrong? In all reality, think about that, right? And that easement within there. So that's what I think of Icon support. You're here asking me questions. Why? Because Icon has been now big on my radar, because I want to know more about the system, and I want to know more about what the system can do for me. But the other flip side of that is Icon wants to know, and they see the importance of partnering with the church, of how can we make a product that will make your life better and easier. It doesn't get, in my opinion, it doesn't get much better than that.
How do you feel about the price of the product and the return on investment you get from it?
Well, the return on the investment, I think, is huge. I'll start there, right? Because the reality is the cost is not that big for the church. In all reality, for all the components and pieces that the system has to offer, I think price-wise, I think that it's really well. The only hiccup that I see isn't from Icon's perspective. I think it goes back to part of my original conversation, is the church's role and responsibility of maintaining or looking at numbers, right, of who they are as a people. And so from that perspective, the price is right. Pardon the pun or the game show or whatever you want to look at within there, right? But I think the pricing is very adequate, and I think that it's very good. It's something that we'll have to look at, because we like also The idea of running payroll through the Icon system, again, is something that we didn't know that was possible, something that we didn't know that could happen. And so we'll see if our church wants to, if the council wants to say, hey, yeah, we'll pay the dollars every month. I believe it's $25 a month to run the payroll system through Icon. My wife does payroll for a living. And so to have a module that would do that with the rest of the things that it would do, the additional $25 a month in having the ability to run all of your tax information to your tax reports and everything else is well worth the $25 a month to make that happen. I mean, come on, it's 2019, and I mean, for $25, what do you get? Most places you can't even buy a pair of jeans for $25.
What would you say if somebody was thinking about switching to Icon, but they're still kind of on the fence?
I would say do it. Wholeheartedly, I would say do it. There is so much upswing and potential with the product that in reality will make your office staff so much better and able to focus on other tasks that are required and need to be done in the church. It takes the majority of your administration and puts it all into one basket, and so much easier to maintain than in one area than it is to try run if you will, a software over here for finances, and then try to do another thing over here for membership and reporting. And when you can take everything literally and put it together, what are you really waiting for? I can guarantee you, if you call the people at Icon and talk to them, they'll probably start working on a program to do something that you want the program to do, because that's what they're there. That's what the customer service is all about, and that we've noticed so far with Icon. And all of this really, for us, came about on switching office personnel, because she started delving into how can I use the system, how can it work better, and so we've just continued to go down, if you will, this road to see what it can do. And in essence, it's made our life easier at Martin's. And as we continue to go down the road and use more of the product that we pay for, that we'll see so many benefits and reap the reward of this operating system that it'll just be unbelievable.
Anything else you'd like to add that I didn't ask?
No, I can't say enough about our office staff that knew about some of the functions of Icon, to ask the questions, to get engaged in conversation, in meetings, to go and look for the system. And so that's the other thing. I think just wholeheartedly about leadership is listening to what your people are looking for, and what they think will help them do their job better to serve the people of the church. And so the credit in all of this goes to my staff, that said, hey, I want to do better when it comes to these numbers and controlling data, and I think that this can do it, and they've been 100% spot on, that Icon is the system that we need to use and be on for the days ahead, to make our life better at Martin's. That's it.
Thank you.